LOL, have you seen this movie?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And he just sends TikToks constantly.
God, your dad is TikToks.
And then also my like friend group sends a lot of TikToks in the in my group chat. So I said, you know what? My screen time has been like, do you monitor your screen time? Are you pretty good, or do you just not care at this point
I just
of your life?
let it fly.
You just let it go. Yeah. I've been trying really, really hard to monitor my screen time. It's been super difficult. But I've been good with like social media, and then I bought YouTube Premium so that I don't have to keep my phone up, and I just lock it. And then my screen time went down by like 2.5 hours a week because I just watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I mostly listen to them. Anyways, so I downloaded TikTok, and I was on TikTok again, and I was on it, Daniel, for probably 2 hours, and I had to tap out.
Wait, 2 hours straight, or
no, like 2 hours, like throughout the day, I was on TikTok, and I was like, I hate this. I don't like the algorithm it's feeding me. I don't want to take the time to build my algorithm. I don't like any of the content. I don't like the UI. I got just rid of TikTok. I don't know. Hi, everyone. I see you guys all out there. Welcome. Hey, Steve, Dwayne, Liza, Laura, John, welcome in, guys. I do you guys use TikTok? Like, I know you use TikTok pretty often.
I love TikTok. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. Because for me, it's like, it's an escape, right? It's like, if I need to disassociate for 5 minutes, like, boop, here comes the phone. Just scroll. And
5 minutes is generous, Daniel.
5 minutes is generous. And let's be honest, it's never 5 minutes.
No, it's never 5 minutes. Because I hated it. And I was hate scrolling for 5 minutes. I couldn't imagine if I was like, my algorithm was tuned. Dwayne, local curmudgeon, says, I will never be a TikToker. However, on the other side, Liza says, I love TikTok for stupid, funny videos. John, never been on TikTok. And Steve says, anti-TikTok, but I have succumbed once or twice due to friends sending me something. Steve, literally same boat. That's what it is. It's mostly my dad. My dad knows how to get me because he'll send me videos and he's like, hey, do you know like anything about this movie? Like, should I watch it? And he knows that I love to like recommend movies to people. And so now you used to be able to just like click on the video and watch it in the browser. And now you can't even do that anymore.
Gotcha.
Anyways, that's just my long-winded way of saying hello and welcome in, everyone. Happy Monday, everyone. A little bit of a solemn Monday. Of course, right before the show, we did learn of the unfortunate passing of the incredible, the legendary James Earl Jones, who passed at 93. God, you know, talking about having, living a life and leaving a legacy. But
dude, absolutely.
If I could live to be 93, I would be a very happy man. That's all that we can hope for. I know, I know that James Earl Jones is so important and so impactful to so many people out there. So I'm not going to try to eulogize. We're not going to try to do any of that. We just want to acknowledge it because it's a huge moment in pop culture. He is a pillar of pop culture who has impacted not only arguably the most important pop culture franchise of Star Wars and lending his voice to Darth Vader, but he's been all over pop culture. And most notably, like, believe it or not, you put an E11 blaster to my head, Daniel. You want to know where I know him from?
Where? Oh yeah. See, and he's been in so much that you kind of forget what he's been in. Yeah. I know he's been Fasa, Coming to America.
Right?
Vader, obviously Darth Vader, Sandlot. He had one of those legacies where like he had such an impactful presence, no matter like what he was in, that he kind of elevated whatever he was in. He had such like a gravitas to him.
A gravitas, yeah.
A gravitas. But yeah, it's such a sad passing, but
yeah.
93. He had a long life.
Yeah. And Dwayne brings up a good point that even without Vader, Dwayne Madison says, even without Vader, he had a legacy, and 100% agree. I mean, the man is beyond legendary, and will be incredibly missed. But we wanted to dedicate, of course, just a couple minutes to him on top of the show. There's a million articles. There's a million people, I'm sure, that can do it better than we can. But we wanted to move along. Oh, yeah, and Big Bang Theory. He is pretty great in the Big Bang Theory. Did you know that was the first time him and Carrie, I don't know if you remember that scene, but like him and Sheldon meet, and then they go and like ding dong ditch Carrie Fisher?
Yes. Yeah.
That was the first time him and Carrie Fisher had ever met in person, apparently.
Really?
Which I found surprising, but it's also not that surprising because she was always on set and he was always in a sound booth.
Yeah.
So
you would think at a premiere or something they'd probably cross paths, maybe, but.
Well, hold on. These people are saying I'm a little staticky. Let me. Well, how do I sound to you, Daniel? Just sound okay?
A little staticky. Maybe that's the popping in my ear that I thought my headphones were going out, but perhaps it's your mic.
Weird. Is this any better now?
A little better. Yeah.
A little bit better. All right. Well, if it gets worse,
Much better.
It's better. Okay. StreamYard has a new feature that I was trying out to reduce static noise, but I already have a noise compressor built into my new mic, so it probably was making it worse. So, okay, cool. Anyways, moving on from my static, which a popping in the sound of your ears is just always what it sounds like when I talk to most people. So I'm glad to know it wasn't me this time. All right, Daniel, we've got pop culture news and headlines again. Thank you guys all so much for being here. We took a nice break. I hope you guys all had a wonderful break off. We did. We just all tried. If you're in California, we tried to not melt. It's been like truly hot, and I, you know what, I'm gonna say, as someone who lived in Texas and lived through 2 Texas summers, this California heat was pretty bad. Like
this California, yeah, but it's
dry. It was a dry heat. Daniel, we sound like we're 75 years old. So but it's a dry heat. But it is bad, like, because it was like a dry heat, and in Texas, at least it's nice and suffocating, with the humidity. What'd you do over your break? Anything better? Anything better than suffocating?
So much. No, we did a lot. We like deep cleaned the apartment. We like went through pantries and cabinets and all sorts of stuff. We went to a baseball game recently. We were featured on like the big screen.
That's right.
Rich and I got to play a middle inning game. It was like the food truck race. Super fun.
How did you do?
I won.
What did you win?
I won a Sandy Koufax bobblehead. I think it's downstairs though.
Oh, okay.
I sent it to my dad, and in typical dad fashion, he didn't even respond. He sent me back a photo of the eBay listing.
That's such. We got to get your dad in Fandom Socialites on the Facebook group. What a collector that man is. But yeah, not just hung out again. Try to stay out of the heat. Did not try to go outside, but I did go because, as you guys know, not to brag, but I've become pretty insufferable with my collecting lately. I got some new VHSs, and I wanted to show them off. Honestly, they're pretty sweet. 2 of the 3 are like arguably like really good, and one of them I'm like, it's kind of a hidden gem. So, okay. First one, obviously.
Ooh, good fun. Wait, what cut is it? What, like
the director's cut?
Okay. Yes. Not the best, but
okay, we'll circle back to that wrong opinion later. And then this is a pretty cool thing. It's Top Gun sealed.
Ooh,
it's still sealed.
Way.
Yeah, it's still sealed. So I've got that. Pretty sweet. And if you guys are going to ask me the same question that the vendors asked, no, I don't have a VHS player anymore. These are purely collectibles and to build homes for my action figures, like they were intended. So, and then finally, this is one that I'm really stoked about because I loved this movie. Okay, Steve, please be serious. The Haunting with Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson. I don't know if you guys remember this movie, but Daniel, do you remember this scene when like the bed like pins her down and it's like it scares her? Liam Neeson's pretty terrible in this. Catherine Zeta-Jones actually brings it. I don't even remember Owen Wilson in this movie, but I remember Taylor is amazing.
I get my wires crossed, and I know there's one movie where I think it might be Owen Wilson where he's like in a fireplace and he's like See, there's nothing scary, and
it's The Haunting.
It's that one, right?
It's The Haunting. Yeah,
there was a couple like in around the same time. They're all remakes of like this old classic film that Richard and I just saw not too long ago. But yeah, something like comes and takes his head off, and that scared me crapless as a kid.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. If you guys haven't seen The Haunting, it's from like the early. Let's see, when did it come out? 2000. Literally the year 2000. So this was released in 2000. So the movie's from 1999, most likely. So, Dwayne says he still records with a VCR almost every day. Huh. I'm gonna say that's serial killer behavior, Dwayne.
No, I'm a little weird, but I love it. A pinout diagram of what you're running, because I imagine that's got like adapters and stuff.
Yeah.
Swanky VHS DVD combos.
Yeah, those are pretty sweet. Daniel, do you remember the Corvette we used to have?
Yes,
that you would pop them in, and we would play. We would break them all the time because we put toys in there.
Yes, dude. To the point where your dad had to ask me specifically to stop putting toys in it.
Yeah. Oh, Laura, she said, I watched The Haunting recently, right after listening to the audiobook, The Haunting of Hill House. The movie was meh. Yeah, the movie is meh. If you watch The Haunting of Hill House TV show that Mike Flanagan did on Netflix. That's very good. And was responsible for one of the best jump scares in a long time. Anyways, all right. That has nothing. We haven't even gotten into the news that we wanted to cover yet. We've got some good ones today. Remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And also, this is our only show of the week. Maybe we'll see if I can convince Daniel to do a Saturday show with me. But Alex is out of town doing spooky goth stuff. So if we can't settle on a movie, no show this Saturday. We'll see you guys again next Monday. Just wanted to say that right up top. All right, Daniel, you are on the clock. What's going on in the news?
All right. To start, Venice Film Festival just happened, and we got some early reviews of some films, right? Really anticipated stuff. One that I wanted to cover in particular was Joker, Folie à Deux, I think. If we have any French speakers that would love to correct me, I'd love to hear it.
I speak French. Oui, Folie à Deux. You're doing great.
Right? That whole thing. Yeah, Joker Folie à Deux, more like fully a dud, it sounds. Okay. The reviews haven't been great, and I'm
we're starting early.
Okay. We're starting early. Yeah,
we're starting early. All right.
I had 2 Red Bulls for this, so
oh Jesus Christ.
You get what you get. So let's see. It's currently sitting at a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I did make a note that a film is not considered fresh on Rotten Tomatoes until it hits 60%. So it is as low as you can get on that threshold without going rotten, which makes me wonder if that was, a petty rating. But some of the snippets that we got were Joker Folie à Deux may be ambitious and superficially outrageous, but at heart, it's an overly cautious sequel. Surprisingly, given the sheer amount of musical numbers, the film chooses to downplay the choreography instead of focusing on the songs themselves. So it's not great.
I really, it's our show, so I really wanted to shoehorn this in here. But I really wanted to talk about this movie specifically because I feel like it is a movie that we all agree did not need to be made, because the first one, take the first one how you will, whether you liked it or you didn't like it. It was impactful to Hollywood, to a group of people, predominantly young men, who viewed this movie as sort of like a beacon in pop culture. I think Todd Phillips said to hell with all of that and has made a movie that is anti-Joker. And by Joker, I mean the first one. So I haven't seen it, but I've talked with enough of my friends who have seen it, and they're like, it's almost purposefully antagonizing. Like it's trying really hard to be a movie that is everything that it wasn't in the first one, which I know I'm reiterating myself, but I think it's Todd Phillips doing this on purpose, because he's a brilliant filmmaker, I feel. And I'm curious to see what people think of it, because I think you have 2 of some of the best character actors in modern times there with Joaquin Phoenix, who, take it or leave, he's great in everything he does. Great in the sense that you're like, well, he definitely went for it. And he knows this character now was really weird. He doesn't do a lot of sequels, so it was weird to see him like embody this character again. And Lady Gaga, who is in her own right an incredible actor. Like she is an Oscar winner, and
I couldn't tell you who. Actually, I don't know. I don't think she won the Oscar for what she was. Oh, she was
for Stars Born.
Yeah, she was up for Best Actress, but she didn't win it. She won an Oscar for, I think, for the song in it.
But, okay.
Yeah, that's not.
So still an Oscar winner. I'm gonna take my my ball and go home. But I'm Steve. Steve, me and you are aligned today. I'm gonna get you in here and get Daniel out of here because Daniel's doing dumb French jokes. I'm so sorry, everyone.
I've got 3 more plans.
So. Oh Jesus. 3 more. Oh no, that's German. Trace more. I agree. This made me, whenever like the general public of reviewers don't understand the movie, it makes me more excited to see it because I don't want to say this. There tends to be a lot of what we call ribbon tying in the industry. And if you're not familiar with what that term means, is like they basically, the studios will hand reviewers a present and the reviewers will tie the ribbon for them. They'll tie the ribbon on the bow. They'll tie the ribbon on the present, which basically means they're told, here's what we want you to do. And they're like, sure. Another way that you can say it is, they're just trying to keep getting invited to premieres and invited to screenings. And whenever a movie that has a lot of press behind it, it's got Oscar winners behind it, is gifted to reviewers and reviewers still don't like it, it just makes me more interested in the film with that context.
Gotcha.
So payola, is a good way of looking at it. I was trying to not mince words, or I was trying to mince words purposely. So it's just an interesting film that I think is going to be incredibly, divisive. And then Daniel, I saw that your question here, and it brings up a good point. You asked, where does the Joker film sit within the larger DCU? The James Gunn verse. I think it doesn't. I think they've been pretty much like okay with not making this related at all. I think they're pretty like happy with that.
And I can see this existing in its own like pocket, its own little like self-contained universe. But Dwayne makes a good point in that like the Joker name, it does feel kind of like a gimmick because like, it's Gotham and it's, I don't know, he runs into Bruce Wayne, as a child. But, aside from that, like it wasn't very like Joker-y, and I think that's why I was so let down with it, is that like I wanted to see like a Joker origin story. I wanted like the Jack Nicholson like color scheme by the end of it, and I didn't quite get that.
Dwayne says simply a total Elseworld story, 100%. Even within the world of the Batman, the Pattinson's Batman, like he doesn't fit. Like he's just, the tone isn't right. Like I guess it's dark enough, but like it's too real world. Like he wouldn't be a good Joker there. And I think that's the point. Like it was never meant to be this Joker that we know. And Lady Gaga is not meant to be like, hey, Mr. J, like that Harley Quinn. Like she's not that. And for some people, like I understand, like if you're a comic book purist, which like I mean, you guys have known me all long enough who are watching this. I'm a massive DC comic book fan. It doesn't bother me. Like I don't want to see the same story over and over and over again. Steve says agreed. If you titled it something different, I would have enjoyed it more. I guess that's on me for having expectations. That's like a very passive aggressive statement, Steve. It's like, I'm sorry I bothered you with my friendship.
No, literally. But I mean, it's true. You title it Joker, you're going to get that expectation set in. And like a lot of people are going to go in thinking they're going to get, X, Y, Z out of a movie. And you give us ABC instead. Yeah.
So, Joker reviews are Joker 2 Folie à Deux reviews are in. They're not wonderful. I think it's not going to cross the 100 million mark. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. It's got a lot of money behind it. It's going to have a lot of press behind it, but I'll be there day one because I want to see this movie so bad. Especially since I've said it before. There's like one reviewer specifically that I know that I almost disagree with him on everything. And he's like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And I was like, well, that just makes me want to see it more because you're an idiot. So very excited. Out of pure spite, as I've made most decisions in my life. So, all right. Well, there was another movie that just recently came out.
Yeah, this one opened this weekend. Opened this weekend, had just finished its first opening weekend, and it's not Dead on Arrival. It's Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice. Some people were saying this would be a soulless cash grab.
What is going on? Is this what 2 Red Bulls is?
Yeah, I had a long day at work.
I can tell. I don't like this version of you. This isn't you. This is your brain on 2 Red Bulls. It's just like Mitch Hedberg. Yeah.
But yeah, let me see. We got Beetlejuice 2. So it's been a 36-year gap between films, right? The last one came out in
golly, that's a long
whatever the math works out to. But people are praising it. People are giving this movie like pretty good reviews. They're saying it was worth the wait. They were saying it's a return to that campy, fun, Tim Burton-y vibe that like they got from the first movie, and people are saying it doesn't fire on every cylinder, it is got some moments that drag on, or it's got some things that, they're like, a callback to the first movie. But, you get what you get with these. But for the most part, it's doing pretty well. Box office of $110 million this weekend.
So, golly. God damn. That's a lot of money. Have you seen it yet or no?
Haven't seen it yet, no. But definitely planning to, because this is one I like Beetlejuice. It was one that kind of like scared me as a kid. What didn't, But yeah, I'm excited to see this one.
Can you hand me my pedestal? My soapbox right there. I'm about to stand on it. Thank you. I did watch this movie because I care about this show and all of you so much so that I would appreciate it if you cared about me and like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So yeah, I saw this movie on Friday, full crowd. It was like me, my girlfriend, and my friends. I've had a lot, like I obviously you guys all know, like I review movies that I've done it before, and I watched this movie and like Beetlejuice, the first one holds no weight to me. Like it came out in 87, I think, 87 or 88. And it just didn't like, it just missed me. Like, I don't know. It's just like one of those movies that's in that time frame where you're like, oh yeah, that was really important. But like, by the time we cared about movies, or at least I did, which I call like being 10 years old, maybe, I was already watching, movies in 2003. Beetlejuice was an old ass movie by that point.
Yep.
So, but I've seen the first one a couple times, and the second one I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for. Truly, I was really excited just solely for Catherine O'Hara because like she's been killing it. But yeah, like Beetlejuice is not like an impactful movie for me at all. Our very good 5'9" friend, Amy Chase, who you guys all know, she's a massive Beetlejuice fan. And like, I get it because it's like a hashtag like mood, it's like Beetlejuice mood. Like, it's just like that, like zany, gothic, whatever that people like about Tim Burton. But like that never got to me. But it's also like on the outside, I've seen everything Tim Burton's done. So, brings us to Friday, and we watch it. Within 10 minutes of this movie, I lean over to my girlfriend and I tell her, I'm like, this is what happens when no one tells Tim Burton no.
Ooh.
Like in a purely neutral way. Like the movie is weird, the set design is awesome. There's a lot of things. There's a few things that I really like did not like about the film. But there was definitely moments where you could see that like Tim Burton, the brand was all over this movie, and like it's kind of suffocated some of the amazing artists that were in this movie. But luckily, the Tim Burton brand is still fun and zany and contributes well to a lot of these characters like Catherine O'Hara and Jenna Ortega playing the same character in a different color of paint again. Like that poor woman, like just cannot shake that poor goth girl routine. Like
Wednesday Addams from here on out.
Literally, dude, like Wednesday Addams from here on out. Like, but also, like Aubrey Plaza is the same kind of vibe and has had a great career, and so
I think at this point, Jenna Ortega is going to need to do like a Legally Blonde reboot or something to really shake off that like goth aesthetic.
Legally Brunette.
Now we're talking.
Ooh, and it's a crossover, and they fight like Infinity War.
I was gonna say like the Scream Killer or something, but
that's probably a better idea. Yeah. So going into a couple of these here, Steve says it was a cash grab and made prior to now. It would have been Beetlejuice 2 Corpse Correction, probably.
Yeah, that would have been good.
True. I think that's true. Yeah. Laura says, I saw Beetlejuice 2 this weekend. I really enjoyed the beginning. Then it fell flat. There was at least one character that could have been left out entirely. Loved Lydia, Delia, and Astrid. That's Catherine O'Hara, Jenna Ortega, and oh my God, Lydia Dietz. I always forget her real name.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder, yeah.
It's because she's so into the role, you lose her because she is completely immersed.
Correct. Dwayne says, like, not like the first one was high art. Agreed. Like, I have this perspective with a lot of movies from the 80s and 70s and early 90s where I'm like, it's not good. Like, it's just different. It was a bad movie then, and this is just a reboot of a bad movie now. But sorry, I'm getting away. I did not think that Beetlejuice was bad. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and there's a lot to love in that movie. Also, Justin Theroux is like fantastic in it as like a total dirtbag.
Really?
He's so like, I found him to be really charming in an unsettling way that works really well in that cast of everyone, because they're all sort of like off kilter a bit in their archetypes.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. His portrayal. Steve Norris says, I'm kind of over Tim Burton. Like how I'm over Kevin Smith and Taika Waititi. No, dude, that's a great way to look at this. Tim Burton is a genre creator, like Kevin Smith, like Taika Waititi. They've got the same beats. They've got the same recipe. And if you're a fan of the recipe, then you don't need to go. I was going to do a KFC Popeyes thing, but I can't remember if it was like 68 signature spices. What was it? Is it 48 signature spices?
No, it's like 11.
It's 11. Oh, it's 60. It's a lot.
60 is a lot. Yeah, that's
23.
crazy.
Oh, no, 23 is Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, 23 is Dr. Pepper.
Okay, so 11 originals. If you like the 11 original spices that Tim Burton, Taika, and Kevin Smith like all have, then you're gonna like it perpetually. Like, and you do, but sometimes it's too much Taika. It's like
too self-indulgent.
Dude, that's the word that I used. I was like, this movie is so self-indulgent.
Yeah,
and
which I guess if that's what you're going into the film for, you're probably gonna enjoy it, like you said. But yeah, for like the average moviegoer, if you've seen one Tim Burton movie, you've seen them all. Seen one Taika Waititi movie, you've seen them all. I think I've seen maybe one Kevin Smith movie. So
yeah, I like Kevin Smith, the podcaster, more than I like him as the movie person. But yeah, him and Mark Bernardin are great together. So yeah, but basically like it's real peaks and valleys, I feel like, with Beetlejuice. Like if you guys are obsessive and lame like me, and you want to like see what like your favorite reviewers are saying about these movies because you like tend to agree with them, a lot of the reviewers are saying the same thing of like, yeah, it's Tim Burton, and it's a lot of these actors kind of improving, and it's very middling. Like the movie would be like a B+, like if you wanted to give it a rating, or like how people make fun of IGN because they give it like a 7 out of 10 every time. Like it would be like a 7. Like it's just a fine movie that's really fun. That like no one, I feel, is really just sort of there for a paycheck. Like everyone there is like definitely having fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's what needs to come through in a film. Not every movie needs to be an Oscar contender. We need those like middle of the ground rom-coms that, people, you can tell like they're breaking on set. They're having fun. They're getting something that, even if it's serviceable, you know, it doesn't need to be like, not everything needs to like win awards.
I have a whole rant that I have awkwardly spoken to a woman at the bar with once, and I drove her away saying that movies like 50 First Dates and all of these like movies that Matthew McConaughey cut his teeth on are like the middle class disappearing, like socioeconomically. Like there's only like bad movies and good movies, and the middle class of movies is gone. And that's a true story that I remember. My friend was
Can
like,
I ask,
have
you ever scrolled through Tubi? Yeah,
that's where the middle class lives,
dude. That like it's like those movies, the fake movies for like TV shows or other movies. Like that's where they all live. I didn't recognize. Well, no, that's a lie. I did recognize a title here or there, but everything looks like it was just like churned out from like a worse Hallmark channel.
Yeah, it's above Hallmark, but it's below like A24 and Warner Brothers and everything. But it's like right in there. It's like basically anything Adam Sandler's done.
Oof. Netflix,
and anything that what's her name, Blake Lively, has ever done, like that's their sweet spot, man. That's where they live. Frank Grillo, the guy who played Crossbones in the MCU, like he lives in there. Liam Neeson's career. Okay, now I'm just getting it. Oh, sorry. Now I'm just being mean.
He's made Taken like 9 times, so I get what you mean. I get you.
He's this, but you know what? That man's got a brand. So yeah.
So moving from TV to movies to TV. We have Emmy news.
Okay. Emmys. Yeah. So these are not the I can hear Daniel. So little behind baseball for everyone. I'm pretty sure Daniel's partner is watching and is laughing at my solid deep breath when when I said Emmys. But so the Emmys have recently been broken. It happens periodically depending on the season, but it's normally like the primetime Emmys, right? The ones that we all know, or the Bear wins 1,000 freaking awards and whatever. So yes, I'm fine. I am not on Red Bull. I've just had a really busy work day, so I guess I have a lot to say. But there is now there's the creative Emmys, and these are more for technical categories like costume, editing, you know, some of the smaller categories that would be, you know, blocked out for time of the prime times. And so that's what these are that you guys are seeing, because I even had a small panic attack. I'm like, did I miss the Emmys? Like, what happened? Like, how did I miss the Emmys? But it creeped up out of nowhere. And I think it's a 2-night. I think I think either today's the second day or yesterday was the second day. I don't remember, but yeah.
But yeah, it was a 2-night ceremony. Yeah, crazy. But I personally don't love that they split the creative Emmys, because like they specifically don't televise those. And I feel like that's not right. Personally, I feel like the below the line and you know, I feel like all the crew, like they deserve their moment in the sunshine too, right? But we need to talk about Shogun, and I feel like we've talked about it a couple times on the show. We know people were watching it. It swept, dude. It
sure did.
So it broke a record.
Like that one princess in Disney. What's her name? Isabel? Belle. She the one who swept and cleaned?
Cleaned what? Oh, Cinderella cleaned.
Oh, Cinderella is what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm sorry.
You know, the Disney princess.
Okay, well, I don't know all of them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, dude, Shogun swept. It broke a record for most awards in a single night, or rather for a single show. I think it was like single season, something. It broke a record. Previously held by 2008's HBO series John Adams. So from 2008 to 2024, like, you know, nobody had broken the record. It won 14 Emmys that night.
God damn.
Well, yeah, 14 Emmys. I'm going to run through them real quick just because there's so many.
Yeah, just rifle through them.
It won Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Period Costumes, Best Production Design, Best Main Title Design, Best Special Visual Effects, Best Period Fantasy Makeup, Best Prosthetic Makeup, Best Stunt Performance, Best Casting for a Drama, Best Period Fantasy Hairstyling, Best Guest Actor in a Drama, Best Picture Editing, and Best Cinematography.
Yep, deserved.
There
Like there's not
anything else
that I'm like, yeah, is there no one else? Deserved, completely deserved, all of them. Like that show is unbelievable. And I remember like telling my girlfriend, like, you should watch the show. And then she blew through it, which
yeah,
is very rare because she watches like the same 5 things over and over again. And she's like, this was great. And I was like, oh shit. So I finished it and I'm like, oh my God, like this is gonna win everything. And
yeah.
and I think we did. I'm pretty sure if someone were to go back and say like and watch the shows, I'm pretty sure it was either Daniel or Alex that were like, Shogun's gonna win everything come Emmy season. Which this is just technical, by the way. Like we haven't even gotten into the performance.
Yeah, and that too makes you wonder like how many more they're gonna get.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
excited to see what's coming from the primetime Emmys because I think they'll be up for. Oh, I had the list, I lost the list, but they'll be up for more.
Okay.
Truly.
Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, and I truly don't want to go through all of them because like the Emmys could be its own show and maybe it will be. But there is just so many. A lot of the only other, I don't want to say notable, but one of the, like the whole conversation was like Shogun is the only real boss that can take on the giant boss of the bear. Because like the bear has been a bear in TV awards. Like it has just swept for the last 2 years, essentially. Even in the time of Succession. And now that Succession's not there, like the bear has filled the gap. But truly, and not, the bear is my favorite show in the last 10 years, maybe. This last season was weaker compared to everything else. And Shogun was so strong. I think, best show, best limited series, which again, different categories, but like I think Shogun has the opportunity to walk away with the bear trophy of like stealing the night away.
Yeah. Just purely based on numbers, the bear was up for I lost the number. I had a list and we'll get into it.
You can't say based on the numbers and then not provide the numbers, Daniel.
Not having the numbers. But the bear won 7 awards as opposed to Shogun's 14. And altogether, FX won 27 Emmys from last night. And they were the lead. So
yeah,
I feel like FX is becoming like a powerhouse
in TV for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, they're greenlighting a lot of content. They're going the A24 and Neon model of, but for television, of like letting creators create their shows and funding them and staying out of one of the thirds. You have the creative, production, distribution. Well, that same model relatively follows for television. And that's why like A24 is so big, because they focus on the creative. No, they focus on the production and on the distribution, but they don't really touch a lot of the creative. The A24, the brand does. And FX follows the same brand, and they've been doing it for a while, but they just needed like a hit to start getting the ball rolling. And they've been so successful lately that you're going to I think you're going to see a lot more really good shows come out of FX in the next like decade for sure.
Yeah. And then unfortunately we'll probably see the the inverse square law take place, and it's just going to be like content slop at some point.
Oh, we're there. We're there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, Shogun is absolutely just, it's going to clean up. I think it's going to win everything. So we'll see.
I don't know. Finish it. Did it set up for a season 2? Like, is there sequel?
I mean, with anything, there is a sequel coming out, much to the chagrin of the fans, and even some of the creators, because I think the first season follows the book, and now they're sort of deviating. Yeah, based off a book, which I don't want to brag, but I'm not going to read. I'll watch the show. And so the second season is deviating creatively from any adapted stuff. So like come the original Emmys, like it's going to win for like adapted show, adapted limited, because it was adapted from the book. But come season 2, when they're nominated, like it's not eligible for those things because the content from season 2 isn't going to be adapted from anything, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see. But Yeah, I think Dwayne says the Bear is a comedy because they are afraid of the drama awards. I think it's complicated. Yeah, for sure. I think the acting, I think some of the writers of Hiro Murai and some of these people being on it like lend themselves to creative. But yeah, like FX and Hulu, they submitted as a comedy because they probably don't want to go up against some of these other shows that they know they're gonna, and it worked, right? Like it
Yeah, they knew they could
that model worked. All right. What else we got?
All right.
Oh, we got one left.
Do we?
One. Well, we've got one category of news.
Oh, gotcha.
But two stories within there.
Okay, the first one. Millennial metalheads rejoice. Linkin Park is back. Ooh. So no. Linkin Park did an announcement where
the sighs. I could hear the groans from here, and it's not just from all the other millennials getting up from their chairs.
Those have to be joints giving out at this point.
Dude,
you know,
I don't get up from this. I don't get up from this chair for fear of death. Truly, it'll be the last knee pop I ever hear. What do you think? Okay, I have a very specific memory of Linkin Park. Do you remember being at like one of your old apartments when we were young and you had Hybrid Theory? And I was like, and it's the red one with the barbed wire. CD?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, we were probably like 7 or 8, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, that was the best time.
Okay.
No, yeah, I mean,
this is the best of times and the worst of times.
It's the worst of times, dude. 8th grade or 8 years old, rather. Different time. But yeah, no, I mean, it's been 7 years since Chester Bennington passed away, so a lot of fans are kind of like mixed, right? A lot of people didn't want the band to continue. A lot of people wanted it to just kind of like be that legacy of Chester, the band, all that. To the detriment, you know, to the point where Brad Delson is no longer going to be with the band. He's not doing the tour. I don't think he's been announced as part of the new album coming out, but
yeah,
they announced a new album. The new lead singer, her name is Emily Armstrong. She was formerly in a band called Dead Sarah, which can't say I've ever heard.
I don't know them either. I mean, do we have so let's bring them back up. So that's her in the center there. And then Brad Delson's not in this, is he?
He's not. No,
he's not in this image of them. Shinoda's there, and the drummer guy with the big hair back there, he's in it. I don't know, like, how are you a big enough fan, Daniel, of Linkin Park for this to be like, oh, cool, like I'd pay to go see them?
You know what? Truthfully, no. I feel like I'm the kind of fan that, like, in my mind, it's Hybrid Theory, it's Meteora, and then maybe Minutes to Midnight, a little bit of it, you know, they kind of fell off. Like once they started doing your Transformers movies, like the sound, the vibe, it kind of changed from what I enjoyed, you know. So I kind of fell off. I mean, but yeah, even I probably wouldn't go pay to go see them.
No, I wouldn't either. And I would say, like, arguably, there was definitely a shift with the first Transformers movie. So that's what, 2009. I know we did a whole hour and a half show on these movies, but truly, we've purged all that shit from our brains. But it's like, once that shift happens of them becoming the Transformers band, like that's really when the music kind of shifts. It kind of changes. Like a lot of their albums, they slip into like what I call like the Coldplay zone of like, you know, Coldplay has an 11th album out, and you're like, what? What did they put out the other 7?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And it's like, and it's that where it's like they slip into not like obscurity, but they slip into like this like negative zone of just like an echo chamber of like they make music for the fans that they already have, and then maybe one of those will get picked up for a movie, and then the movie success leads to another album, which is just for their fans, and then a song that gets picked up for another movie. So like,
and it begins this like, downward spiral of like, you know, the commodification of like their music, and I guess commercialization of their music. You know?
Which is hard, right? Because I never agree with the fact that like I want my favorite band to say the same band all the time, because if you do, you get the Offspring, who the Offspring, no shots fired if you love The Offspring, but they've been the same band for 20 years. They've
Arguably
never
more.
changed. Arguably more, yes. But like, say what you want about the Coldplays, the Green Days, even like, you know, like
Arctic
a lot of
Monkeys.
like rappers, Arctic Monkeys, like they have had this career change because they just refuse to stay stagnant creatively. Like Coldplay's had like an EDM album, and then you know they did the song with Beyonce and Seb, the DJ, and like you're like, okay, like I don't like it, but it's different.
Yeah.
Muse is a really good example of that, where like they've always been like anti-government, but then they did like a whole album with the UCLA marching band, and then they did or the orchestral, and then all kinds of stuff. I was like, I like that change. I just feel like Linkin Park, they're in an interesting position because of the death of Chester. And also, I didn't know this. We talked about this before the show, but like apparently the lead singer is like had some weird stuff against her, right?
So they made the announcement, and then like an hour later, everyone was like doing their digging, and they found out that I think she was born into Scientology, and so she was like an active member. It's kind of murky as to like if she's still a participating member, but she was also one of the I guess defenders or character witnesses for Danny Masterson of that '70s show. There to defend him, and I didn't really get all the details as to the extent of it, but it's not looking good. It's off to a bumpy start. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I'm sure contracts are signed, the work is done. I'm sure they're gonna see it through, but they've already got that chip on their shoulder moving into the space.
And they're going. I mean, it's like, is it a global tour right now, or is it just a US tour?
I don't think the tour, I think it's probably a global one. I don't think the dates have been finalized yet.
Right.
But there is an album coming. So I think they'll launch that, and I guess see how big of a tour they can do after that. But it's definitely not going to be a stadium tour. This is.
I'd be curious to hear I'm sorry, you have to remind me, Emily Armstrong on some of the tracks, because I've heard a few of the tracks so far, but they were live. Like there were people recording live.
I think they did a live stream event as well.
And it didn't sound wonderful.
No,
like, however, it's also like there's more working against her than there is working for her. Like,
it's an uphill battle right now.
Chester Bennington is one of the most iconic voices in modern rock and roll recently, like not ever. But also, like, I'm sure she has an incredible voice, but the gender swap of his voice to her voice is, it's going to take you a while to adjust to. And I also think like she does have that, like that gravelly, like that like gravelly, like falsetto that obviously Chester, when he did his 17-second scream, like it's crazy. Like, I mean, a lot of their music was built in rage and ideology against rage. And like, are any of them there at that point, like, anymore? It's like Rage Against the Machine, right? Like they are now all living in Brentwood and nice parts of New York and have 401ks, and they are now part of the machine. So like, what is, but they stopped touring once that became apparent. And like Linkin Park, a lot of rage and angst went into their music. So I'd be curious to see how Emily Armstrong, find that feeling again to honor Chester, not mimic or imitate Chester. So,
and I think that's the biggest point. Mike Shinoda was saying that, like, we're looking to add stories to the Linkin Park, or looking to add chapters to the Linkin Park story, right? Rather than like reiterate what we've done, just with a new face, a new flavor. And I don't know, I'm excited to see what they do. They put out a single, I didn't love it, but the album's coming, so we'll see if it's a B-side or if that was like them firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. And Steve says, I wish I could think of relevant jokes, but I have no opinion. I guess I've become so numb. I'm sorry you've become numb, Steve. I don't know what that's about. I hope you're doing okay. I refuse to acknowledge your joke.
Jokes like that have me crawling in my skin.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
Well, I'm the point of authority here on this show.
Oh, that was a good one. Thank you. Damn it. All right. Well, we've got one more piece of music news. Another band reuniting and going on tour. And speaking of insufferable,
we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah,
Oasis, the Gallaghers, they're back. They're back, baby. Liam and Noel Gallagher, after a 15-year hiatus, are coming back on a reunion tour. They've got dates scheduled in the UK only at this point, but we'll see how that goes. Notably, hate each other, right? They had their
hate
differences.
Everyone.
They hate everyone. They hate everything. They're those people. You tell them you love something, and they're like, I don't love it.
They are these people that, like, I'm not gonna. Oh, I just noticed I'm casting a shadow now. It's getting dark, Daniel, like you were saying. They are the type of people that, like, when you're like, ooh, you know what's really good is you guys should read Saga. And they're like, I stopped reading comic books after the 90s because there hasn't been a good comic book written in 20 years. And you're just like, you're gonna die alone. That's what's gonna happen. And your cats are gonna eat you, and no one's gonna care or grieve you. Like, I hate that personality so much, and that is what Oasis is at their very spindly little core. Is that? But they make great music. I'm gonna say.
Can I show you? This is from the photo shoot, right? He's wearing this jacket. Do you see this? Liam here on the left. He's wearing this like raincoat. I know he was hot in that studio. There's probably no AC. He's probably boiling alive. But out of pure spite, he's wearing the jacket.
That's how he survived. Show the before picture.
Oh,
because
yes.
I told Daniel that I was like, good thing that these gentlemen have aged up because they look like skeletons that have just barely come back alive.
Yeah, they look unfinished. Like they didn't get to bake for quite as long as they needed to.
Correct. They look like Mr. Meeseeks if someone made them human. But God, they make good music. Especially Oasis's first two albums are pretty fantastic. They look like Mr. Bean's kids. They do. Yes.
Yeah, everyone's saying Mr. Bean. Yeah, I was after the announcement, I was trying to like catch myself up on the Oasis lore, right? All the stories behind it. And I got up to the 2009 iTunes Festival where they're playing, and Liam is just going through it on the stage. And like there was a TikTok, and this guy narrated it, like what was happening, and like what he's gone on record saying, like what was going through his mind. He was soaked with beer. He hated people throwing shit at him, and people love to throw shit at him.
I will say that I love it because people will go see them purely to mess with him, and it's like he doesn't want to be there because people are gonna hate watch him, but you're also continuing to make him a millionaire with all of this.
Yeah,
pretty great.
It's like people burning their shoes. It's like you already paid the money. What are we doing?
Yeah. I love it. So they are insufferable for a lot of reasons. But they've always had this weird disconnect where they have never, ever wanted a relationship with their fans or anyone else outside of their band. Like their ecosystem of Oasis was theirs. They wanted no influence. They wanted no help. They wanted no opinions. And you almost like, that's one thing I respect about Oasis is they've been so consistent their whole life. They've always been these assholes their entire life. And it's just how they are. Like, and it's not an excuse, but you at least know what to expect from them. Most notably, they've not made headlines because this happened a long time ago at Glastonbury, but I think it was like 2010 or 2008, where Jay-Z headlined the third day of Glastonbury. They headlined the second day, and Liam Gallagher had specifically said, like, why is like I can't believe that a rapper is going to headline Glastonbury. They have he has no purpose being here, this Jay-Z, and he's not real music. So Jay-Z like cut that and created like a whole new intro for that. And he came out, it was just terribly playing and singing Wonderwall and was trolling him. And he had like a massive crowd because people wanted to see Jay-Z and also wanted to see Jay-Z to spite Oasis. So like it's pretty fantastic. I don't know. I'm curious what everyone out there like, because again, and we like by the time I think by the sorry, I don't want to do this to all of you watching. I know our demographic is a little bit different than what me and Daniel currently sit at. I'm pretty sure Oasis was either broken up or was just about to break up by the time we were born.
Huh.
They were like a supernova, a champagne supernova. Dare I say?
Supernova.
See, I can do it too, Steve and Daniel.
Okay.
Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what I'm getting at, Daniel, is they didn't really have much of a career or a presence musically by the time we were becoming aware of music. So like, I'm curious out there of everyone watching, like, did you guys like, were you huge Oasis fans, or was it like, oh, that's like a British thing? Because obviously they had like Wonderwall, but they've had a slew of incredible music. Like they've got a pretty sick catalog, which I hate to admit, but they do.
I made it through the first album. I was trying to like catch up and listen, and I found a few good ones.
What's the name, Daniel? Can you find what's the name of their very first album? Is it like Bite Me? Is it Bite Me Twice? Is that them? Or the Kinks? I forget. But their very, very first album. But it's their it's what made them famous, and it's great. Like for me, no skips on it.
Definitely maybe.
Yes, thank you. Dwayne says, "Are you calling us old or young?" However you, my friend, choose to read that tarot card, that is on you.
Like when did Wonderwall came out? Because surely that was like on the air all the time.
Yeah. Jen Edwards says they were okay, but I never bought anything of theirs.
95.
See, like that's what I mean. Like they were probably already, a little bit on the outs for us. So, I mean, I know they were super relevant. They were big, but like they were never like Led Zeppelin, and I think they always thought they were. They thought that they were this massive, massive band.
Yeah,
and they just
them and Blur.
Yeah. But Blur isn't as obnoxious. Like, and at least what's his name from Blur went on to create he was in the Gorillaz, right?
The Gorillaz. He did some other stuff too.
And he was the fourth member of Muse for a long time.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, the Oasis coming back is huge. They were really big in the UK, and of course, they're gonna be big in the UK till the end of time. I feel like they're one of those bands like who? Almost like Fleetwood Mac, right? Where it's like the lore behind it is almost as popular as the music they produced.
Or more, I'd say.
Or more.
Like, it adds to it. Like you could argue without all of the drama of Fleetwood Mac, if you remove all that and they're a totally normal band, like would they be as successful? Like they'd be as talent has nothing to do with it, but would they be as commercially successful as they are like today? Probably yes, because the Fleetwood Mac is fantastic. But Oasis, who knows? Maybe not. But Mr. P. Tanner says, my exposure to popular music has been hindered due to geography. Do you live in a monastery, Steve? Where do you live?
He gets his internet with like a little wire coat hanger that he has.
Oh, the little bunny ears. Yeah. he gets like his emails delivered by hand. Figure that one out. But all right. That's all the pop culture news and headlines that we have today, everyone. Thank you all so much. Because it's me and Daniel, and we know how to run a show, we're going to get everyone here out under an hour. So thank you all so much for watching. And also, one of the things we wanted to do before we go is ask you guys, we're still figuring out some of the content we want to do. It's starting to become a little bit tricky because, we can do these Monday shows, but we have a little bit of time during the week where we want to do other stuff pre-recorded. So we're always curious as to what kind of content you would like to see myself, Daniel, Alex, and Autumn put out for everyone. Obviously movie stuff. And, we want to get back to like fandom focuses and, maybe some interviews and stuff, but we are always curious what kind of content you guys are consuming and would like to see us put out. So you can leave it in a comment. You can reach out to us personally. However you'd like to get that information to us, you can get it to us. But just wanted to put that call out there. Thank you all so much for watching. Fandom Social Live. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You guys know the deeds. So have a wonderful night. Daniel, thank you for putting the outline together as per usual. Thank you for watching, and like what you love what you like, and I hope you don't be an oasis about it. Bye, everyone. Have a good night,
everyone.
dude. Oh.